Right, so in the last video, Daniel fixed these bad boys. Thank you, Daniel. These were leaking. Thankfully, Daniel has fixed them. They are no longer making hissing noises at me. They are no longer angry snakes. They are working mags that retain gas in them. I'm not going to press it down. I'm going to keep the gas in them for a bit because you're meant to keep them under a little bit of pressure. But these two mags are now fixed. I also have another one that never broke. So now all three of my magazines are fixed. Thank you very much, Daniel, for saving me 50 quid if I had to buy two new mags. But before we go on about these mags and unpacking that beast, let's talk about the gun that they go in. This is the Raven EU-18C. It's not focused again. Thank you. This is the Raven EU-18C. It is modelled after the Glock 18C, which is just the standard semi-auto version with a slide cut out here and a giggle switch. Look, giggle switch. You know, I love this particular gun. I'm not going to go into whether or not pistols in Airsoft are practical because that's an entire different can of worms that I think me and Daniel will cover at a later date. We've both got more pistols than is probably necessary, so I'm not going to go into whether or not this bad boy is actually useful or not, but we're going to probably touch on whether or not this one in particular is any good. Sorry if the camera decides to keep changing color. I don't know what the hell is going on. Anyway, so this is, like I said, the EU-18C. It is from Raven. It is, you know, parent companied by Nooprol, which do make some half decent stuff. They're, you know, not a terrible company. So I thought, screw it. It's cheap and it looks really cool because I love Glocks. I think Glocks look so cool. And also it's got a fun switch. Why would I not want that? But cheap is definitely the word I'd use to describe this. And that falls into this as well. Why are the dogs making noise? They done? Cheap is definitely what I'd use to describe this. It is, I think, looking now, I think it's around £80. Could be more, could be less. I can't remember. I bought this a little while ago. And so it is definitely one of the more budget options for pistols. Are there better options? Absolutely. If you maybe save up an extra £40, could you get a WE or a Tokyo Marui? Yes, you definitely could. Are they better options? 1,000 times, yes. But this is a budget pistol. It is not designed to contend with Tokyo Marui or WE. It is designed to give you a standard last minute resort sidearm. And I think this does the job it needs to do. It is a last resort. You could have any gun that is a backup to your main one and it will do the job. This one just so happens to be shaped like a Glock. And I do not hate this gun. I love it because, you know, it's my first pistol, and because of that I can't hate it too much, but I'm not saying it's great. There are some problems with it. Problem number one: guns aren't supposed to sound like that. Focus, thank you. Guns are not supposed to sound like that. They're not meant to wobble. This one does wobbling exceptionally well. The selector switch, you know, this full autos thing here is definitely a gimmick, but it is also extremely terrible because it does not like to go into, you know, semi very positively. In full auto, it sticks into full auto really well. It kind of stays where it needs to go. Semi is just kind of a suggestion because, you know, you can either have it there for semi or you can have it kind of there for semi. So if it had a more positive click on both of them, there wouldn't be a problem. It's what it is, you know. Even if it's in full auto, you can just burst it. You probably still get single shot, but very nitpicky gripe, you know. Again, the sound doesn't help, you know, the slide wobble, but there's no trades, of course, because why would they trade a gun that's less than £100? Not worth the money, but it definitely is a Glock. The pistol has a half decent trigger. It's what it is for £80. It's not, you know, it's not a crisp trigger, but it gets the job done. The biggest problem with this gun isn't actually the gun itself. These, not that one hasn't broken yet. These two that Daniel gladly fixed for me, thank you, Daniel. These two have indeed, come on, focus, there you go. These two have actually broken. Daniel had to fix them by putting in new O-rings and etc, etc. Watch his video, he's great at fixing, but you know, these had to be fixed. I was warned when I originally, not when I originally bought this, but early on when I had this gun, I was warned this gun, more specifically this gun's magazines, the Raven EU style magazines, this one's a green gas, they are prone to leaking. which is completely correct because 2 out of 3 of my mags have leaked and needed to be fixed. Luckily, I didn't have to pay to have them fixed. I've got a good friend that will fix them. It is something to be aware of, is that when you buy cheap, you get what you pay for. I got what I paid for. I paid for cheap mags. I got cheap mags that didn't, hold up that well. That one, trooper. This one, doing its bit, do bits. These two, disappointment to the family. Apart from the magazines that are, oh my God, dogs. Okay, so apart from the magazines, the slide wobble, and that's really the main problems with this gun. It's done exactly what you'd assume it would. It goes in my little, oh, where's my belt? It goes on my belt, happy days, fits in its holster, nice and easy. It goes on my belt, nice and easy, fits in with the other stuff, and this is a last resort. I have many mags on my plate carrier. I have a nice mag in the gun, so I very rarely need to use this, but if I ever do need to use it, this is for last minute, backed into a corner. You have to compress as much as possible. This will do the job. Can you get better ones? Yes, you can. You can always get better pistols for more money. If you really just need a pistol as a last resort, I wouldn't advocate buying, but if you really don't care and you also have the means to fix it if it breaks, the gun itself hasn't broken, it's the mags. Tokyo Marui mags do work in this, as do Tokyo Marui upgrades. Why you'd put good upgrades in this gun beyond me. This is if you just want a sidearm, you want something to play around with, you don't want to spend more than £100, then can't argue against it. We'll put everything back in here. No, go in. Okay, and that's how the belt lives. Not at that angle, of course. You shouldn't rely on a pistol if you're running a rifle. You should rely on your rifle, and this should be a last resort. If you're going to go pistol only, don't get this. Get a better one. Get a Tokyo Marui. If you're not relying on this, pistols can be as cheap as you want them to be. I can't hate it because I haven't been let down by it. Oh, that's probably going to come back and bite me. I'm going to run this at some CQB sites near me, and we're going to come back to it, and I'm going to tell you whether or not I've been let down by it. And if I haven't, then maybe I'll become a big advocate for Raven pistols. But as it stands, I haven't been let down by it to say that it's bad. Let down by these things not working. If you need a pistol and you don't want to spend anything, still don't get this. Get a Tokyo Marui. If you just want a pistol to look at and just play in the garden and you're never going to skirmish with it, still get a Tokyo Marui. We will do a separate video on whether or not pistols themselves are actually practical in Airsoft, just covering this one specifically. I don't hate it because this is my pistol. There are many like it. There are many better than it, but this one is mine. I think if you look after it, and you can get around these not working all the time, then, screw it. Thanks for watching.